Hey guys, John here. So today we have a big festival and sale going on, and I'm gonna check out to see what we have toy-wise. Hopefully there'll be something here. It's called the Vintage Festival and Antique Show and all that, something like that. So vintage antiques, we'll see if anyone has any toys. You can see them setting up their trunks, and there's tents over there. So we're gonna go check out to see what's over there. It's like a big car boot sale, as they say. And then we'll be going indoors afterwards. This is a indoor market and giant flea market, basically. A huge indoor flea market. So we'll be checking that out, see if there's anything inside. First thing I noticed was a bunch of old cars and old radios. I like old radio and old camera technology, so I thought that was kind of neat. It's always neat to see the old camera. That looks like an old viewfinder, like what were those red viewfinder things? It was called viewfinder, right? I don't remember what that. But anyways, yeah, those were neat. We had a guy here that had random stuff, and I was looking at this Ken doll, Barbie doll case, and I saw the Star Wars one. And have I got a story about this guy? Wait till the end and you're gonna hear one hell of a story about this guy. Wow. Talk about crazy. But he had these various bins full of pretty much junk, you know, and yeah, this was quite a trip. So I'll tell you that story at the end. Yeah, these bags of random army men and stuff, and I like these space guys here. But these bins are what I'm talking about. He just has these bins full of junk. I found a mask guy in a Stampede Activision game, and then I started just looking and piling up more stuff because he had these random things, you know? Hot Wheels and Superman and various other bins full of big guys here. We got some Transformers, some Star Wars stuff down there, books and things, Star Wars movies in a little case. I don't know, some Funko things. Random stuff just kind of thrown in up here. Yeah, I don't know. Slim pickings, if you ask me. Then we got this, I did see this ATST. Another tray full of cars, and we got some random bins full of mostly McDonald's type toys. Some dude had a whole bunch of mugs that were like, God, these are like Steins, right? These are, I don't know, what are these? Character mugs. Random stuff down below. I kind of felt like it was slim pickings at this place. Then I went indoors. This is indoors, inside. And there is one or two places inside that deal with toys and various things. This one caught my eye. I hadn't seen this one before. So I started looking through here, and I was like, oh, there's some interesting stuff. So I see some Power Rangers back there. I'm going to have to go inside and check. So she had a whole bunch of... this lady was like 900 years old. This lady's really old. She couldn't even get out of her chair to help look around, so she just told me to wander. And I saw all these old Star Wars and Star Trek guys and started thinking, all right, lady, you're going to make some deals today. And she was like, because, you know, she's like, well, price is marked, but we can bundle everything up and make a deal if you want. But so I started looking at these figures and stuff and going, like I wonder what kind of deal we can make today. Woohoo! So I pulled off this Watto, and the package is destroyed. And I flipped it over to see what the price she wanted on it, and I was like, wait, what did that say? 1985, what? What, are you crazy? And then I was like, Quark from $21, what? Does that say $21.99? Are you crazy? For Quark? Like, what planet do you live on? You know, so I went over and looked at those Power Rangers, and I was not impressed because they're all open. They've been out of the box. And then, you know, I'm looking at some of this other stuff, and it gets you. It's one of those things where, does this happen to you guys? Like, you see stuff like the Watto and the Quark, and immediately you're thrown off. You're like, I'm not buying anything from this whole store. I don't care what they have. Like, you see such high prices on something, and it just immediately puts you in a bad mood, and you're just in a negative space where you're just like, I'm still gonna look around to see what you have, but I'm not buying anything from you because those prices are outrageous. You know, like, does that ever happen to you? Do you guys ever get in that headspace? And but she had a lot of really good stuff. I was like, if the prices were reasonable, I think I would have walked out of here with a whole lot of stuff, because there's some cool items in this store. But I'm like, man, you're asking way too much for some of this stuff. You know, people come to, like, bargain discount places to get a deal. They come to these sales because they want to get a deal. We don't want to pay, like, above retail, you know? Like, that's crazy. So some people just have this idea that everything they have is worth hundreds of dollars, and it really isn't, you know? And when you're selling at one of these car park sales and flea markets, you can't expect to get those prices. That's not why people are going to those kind of sales, you know? I don't know. Yeah, could just be me. Maybe you guys are going to tell me I'm totally way off base here. But anyways, oh, what a trip. So here's the loot. Here's what I came away with. And I was totally shocked. I spent $18 and I walked away with all this great stuff. But I also had an altercation. It was crazy. So as I'm telling you the story, we'll go through some of this stuff. But so I walked up to the first guy. I went to the very end and walked up to the very first guy, and he had this Star Wars case. He had a couple of Barbie cases for Barbie, and the Barbie dolls, and they looked like they were cases from the 70s, so they were pretty old. And then underneath him, I saw that Star Wars case, this really nice one. It's seen better days. It's not beautiful, right? So, but it's got both of its trays in there, and it's pretty neat. We'll take a look at it in a minute. And so I asked him, this is kind of like the feeler. You know, you do this sometimes when you're at these things. You want to feel somebody out and just get an idea for what they're thinking and stuff. So you just say, like, how much for this one item? And he comes back at me with $5. All he wanted was $5 for that case. So I'm like, oh, all right, I'll give you $5. I pull out $5. He hands me the case. I put it in my bag, and we're, wheeling and dealing done, right? So I walk over around to the other side of his table, and he's got these bins. They're just like random bins. And I start looking through the bins, and I'm like, oh, here's a Spider-Man car. Oh, a Spider-Man helicopter. That's kind of neat. And they're little, like, Matchbox size things or so, you know? And, and I know they're from the 80s. I'm like, yeah, okay. And I find a whole bunch of Battlestar... No, not Battlestar Galactica. They were, the ones that are like G.I. Joe. Buck Rogers. So it was the Buck Rogers, the white-suited Buck Rogers, and the girl, Aaron Gray's character, and a couple other guys, and they're totally broken. The rubber bands are snapped, the arms are off, the legs are hanging there, the waist is in the back, and they're all in these little bags, and there's, I don't know, a few of them. So I grab them, and I put them in a pile, and I said, hey, I'm going to start making a pile here, and he's like, oh yeah, got another Yoda item, which I don't think I have this thing. It's a Yoda 8-ball that kind of doesn't work, but... never really lands on an answer. It always lands tip up. So I don't know about that. But still, it's going to go in my cabinet like that anyways. So I'm not going to use it. But, so yeah, he's like, he goes, all right, cool. We'll pile it up and then we'll make a deal. We'll go for something once it's all piled up. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I find like a Star Wars comic. It's like the oversized old comic from the 70s, and the back of it is torn. Like the back cover is torn. So I'm like, it's torn. It's, $1 or something. It's not worth that much. But I throw it in the pile anyways. I found some spacemen that are sort of like the army men we had growing up, the little plastic army men, like the guys in Toy Story, you know. But these are spacemen guys. They're like you know, guys with outer space suits on and stuff. And there might be 10 in this little Ziploc bag, so I threw them in the pile. And a Star Trek Galoob Riker and a couple other spacemen type things, like a robotics guy. You know, in little 5 POA action figures, like 3 or 4 of them go in there in the pile. And then I'm like, there was an ET, like eraser, and I'm like, okay, so here's, you know, and I pile it all up, and I'm like thinking, you know, if you were to like individually sell all this stuff on eBay and really take your time, you might get lucky and get like $40 for the whole pile. You know what I mean? And that's if you pieced everything out individually and really took your time and tried to find the right buyer and all that stuff. So it's like, it would take you a lot of work to get $40 out of the pile that I had. And the guy looks, and you know, and I offered him $15, and the guy looks at me and he goes, he just started getting like furious, and he went, more like $150, man. He's like, this is all like gem, this is cream of the, you know, good stuff here. And I'm just like, what? No, it, you know, like, I'm thinking in my head, like, no, it isn't. Like, what are you talking about? I need the hatch, but this was kind of neat. It's based on this. Look, it's the same mold as the Kenner. So I was like, what? And this person behind me, like, I hear him scoff, like, $150 for that pile of junk, you know, and like, someone else said something I couldn't hear behind me, but 2 people basically scoffed at that just as much as I was like, what? And then all of a sudden, the guy just blows up and he goes, listen, you boy, you little mother effer. He's like, you're trying to rip me off. I know you're trying to pile fast one on me. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, where is this coming from? And the guy behind me, I hear him go, yo, man, where's this coming from? He just made you an offer. Calm down, you know? And I was like, listen, I'm done. I go, this is, keep the stuff. And he goes, you little asshead, I'm gonna get, you know, and he picks up this thing, like, and he starts waving it in the air, and I'm like, and the guy behind me goes, walk away, dude, just walk away. And we just start walking away, and he's like, that ain't nothing on you, man. He goes, though, that guy was just like, he lost it for some reason. I don't know, but I was like, it's going down at the flea market, you know, like, oh my gosh. But if he knew, he's like, I've been in toys, I've been dealing this stuff for 60 years. I know what I'm talking about, you know, and he's yelling at us about it and everything. And I'm just like, well, clearly, dude, you don't know what you're doing, because, you know, like, in my head, I'm going, you sold me something that's worth way more than $5 for just $5. And then you want a pile of junk that's not worth like $30-40, and you want $150 for it. So it's like, you clearly don't know what you're doing, mister. You know, like, obviously, you know, like, yeah. But this has both trays in it, and all the pegs are on the backing things. And the inside's pretty clean. It's not that bad at all, really. It's just the front has a little bit of the sticker coming off, you know, but otherwise it's a pretty clean carry case. It's just too bad the front art is sort of folding off, you know. I guess the plastic's come off, hasn't it? That's what's going on. This had a plastic over it, didn't it? And that plastic has come off. I wonder if there's a way for me to re-glue some plastic on the front and just sort of bring this back to life. Huh. But still, I mean, I'm going to use it for a carry case for my figures and add it to the carry case collection. I think it's pretty cool. And like you guys have seen, we got Elf, an Elf puppet born to rock. And the puppet's pretty clean. We're going to look up Elf's butt, but you can see it's pretty clean inside. He's been well taken care of. So I'm pretty happy with having Elf. What's it say? 88? Is that 88? Alien Productions. But he's got this cool bandana thing on, and he's all like Born to Rock. Elf, yeah. And we got like some kind of Marvel Legends Incredible Hulk here with some action. He's got this action. So that's kind of neat. So although someone wrote on his foot. But whatever. We threw him in with the deal to get... We got Hulk, these two figures, and the Walker for $10. Isn't that crazy? And he's still got his helmet, both his hands. I mean, that's what I looked for. I was like, oh, they got their hands. Because a lot of times people pull the hands off and the hands are gone. So a couple more Star Wars guys. Oh, this Yoda was thrown in with those. Sorry, the Yoda was thrown in with those. So all that with this was $10. And I paid $5 for that. And the rest was him. So yeah, I think I did pretty good. Pretty neat little day out. And the rest, I guess you saw before. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate you coming along on this journey with me. And hope you enjoyed that crazy story, the craziness we ran into here. That's just a little bit insane. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, why are you suddenly getting all pissed off? Like, you know... It makes no sense. I don't know. I rub people the wrong way, I guess. No, you guys know I'm the nicest person in the world. That was just a crazy freak thing. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll talk to you later. See ya.